pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, we thank you for another day. We ask that you give your wisdom and guidance as we move through these proceedings. We ask that we reflect your wonderfulness as we move forward into our daily lives. We ask all of this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Rock. I'd like to call the meeting to order and entertain motion for the signing of the claims and minutes.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We'll sign those after the meeting, so we'll move right on to the sheriff's office with Officer Shane Booker.
Morning, Shane.
Good morning. I come before you guys requesting if we can move forward in purchasing patrol vehicles for our department the next year's budget. Over the last few months, I've been reaching out to four different dealerships for bids, and out of those dealerships, 3 were in our county. We had our lowest 2 bids were local bids. My recommendation is that we could purchase 3 of our vehicles to the lowest bid, which was for the amount of $35,440 to Rice Ford, and then purchase 2 vehicles of the same vehicle to Curlin's, and their bid was for $35,474. It was less than $40 difference.
Okay.
So
You guys think that makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of spread the love around a little bit, make this
Yeah.
not close.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty much non-existent in
Yeah.
price difference.
You're comparing apples to apples,
yes,
obviously.
I went through line by line. They're both exactly the same. There's no difference between that's why they were so close, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Wow, that's close.
Yes.
So your recommendation, and we have discussion, we have a motion.
Make a motion to approve the purchase of 3 from Rice and 2 from Curlin Motor on Sheriff's Department cars.
I'd second that.
Have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good.
I also come before you, asking approval if we can move forward in applying for a grant. It would be the JAG grant from the Department of Justice. The reason why we're applying for this is to help purchase radios for our new radio system, going into phase 2. This will be a federal reimbursement grant, and the amount for that grant that we would apply for would be $3,222,500.
322,500. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And Shane, this would be for upgrading your radios
That
for.
is correct. This will help purchase our need for the new mobile and portable radios for our agency.
And I know we had a meeting last week, I think. Were they reaching out to some of the other departments for this JAG grant to make sure they were aware of that,
We were sharing information with most of the departments. I can't say that, I don't know for sure about all the different agencies, but I know a good portion of them, we all been in communication about this.
Yep.
At least law enforcement wise.
Appreciate you looking into this opportunity for us to hopefully offset some county dollars. So I'd make a motion to approve filing for the grant for the JAG radio.
Second.
It's been moved to second. Any further discussion?
Michelle, you? Okay. Always check that.
And you say you've already checked with the other departments in the county and,
We had discussion. I know quite a few of them have applied for it also.
okay. So I know Pearston was in just the last
I
meeting
know we
asking
spoke
for
to
radio.
them.
So you coordinated with them?
Claypool.
Okay.
Okay.
That's huge. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very good.
My last thing I have to present to you guys, if we can move forward, reference, we like to apply for our grant as we do yearly for our CHIRP, which is our OPO, DUI, and Click It and Ticket. As you can see, those grants that we're requesting for, the first one, the Belt Up, it's a $3,000. The program for Click It or Ticket is for $30,000, and the DUI program is for $22,500. This is the one we do pretty much every year.
Okay. See, they've changed the verbiage from click it or ticket to click it to live it. Is that the same thing?
Yes. Yep.
That's, okay, that's unusual, but, okay.
I historically voted against this because I don't think the government has the right to tell you to put a seatbelt on, but I'll probably support it. I think it's your own personal decision. Die at your choice.
Until your head's through the windshield and you gotta call police, EMS, fire, yeah.
So
Um,
anyways,
Okay. we
I'll
have
make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Took you off the hook, Brad.
I used to give Aaron a lot of grief on that.
I greatly appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Keep
Thanks,
up the
Shane.
good work. Any office holder, or department head have business with the commissioners this morning? Seeing none, we'll move right along to County Attorney Ed Ormsby.
We have the county attorney engagement letter for 2022. It was discussed at the last council meeting and now is up to the commissioners to approve or do otherwise.
Okay.
But you were at that meeting.
Yeah, so I presented that to the council there last week, I guess it was, or maybe the week before, 2 weeks ago. You know, pretty much the agreement that we have spelled out was pretty much, I think the total number was what, $60,400, I think?
360,320.
320, for the year 2022 for legal fees. And the main difference is some of the offices will have their own budget for some of their legal fees, but that's what we agreed to, and all of its time will be by the hour, the $200 an hour moving forward. So, I mean, I would make a motion to approve the agreement. The council was agreeable with the agreement and approved our budget for next year. So.
I would second that.
Been moved to second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Nothing further.
Anything further? Okay, thank you, Ed, appreciate that. Okay. County Auditor, Michelle Puckett. Or County Administrator, my bad. I jumped one. Marshall, let's do you next, shall we?
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
I have interlocal agreements for all the outerlying police departments. This allows them to access the data here. It's for terminal services data. And what this does, this fee helps to pay for the maintenance plan for that software.
We do that annually, don't we?
Yes, it's an annual.
Make a motion.
It's been, the motion to accept the recommendation.
Second.
Been second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 That's all I have, thank you.
Okay. Now we move on to Michelle, sorry about that.
Oh, not a problem. I have for you your 2022 nonprofit agreements that I need your approval on. The amount on these agreements is what you recommended to council and council approved at their budget meeting.
Okay, very good. Do you have a motion to accept?
I'd make a motion.
It's been motioned and
Second.
second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, the next thing I have is for 2022 interlocal agreements between the KCCRVC and the Solid Waste District. These two agreements allows the auditor to act as the controller for both of those entities.
Very good. Do an excellent job with that as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
More work,
Yeah.
job
More work.
security.
Always.
Yeah.
Got a
I
motion.
make a motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
You're
Thanks.
welcome. Keep up the good work. County Highways, Steve Moriarty. Come on down.
Head coach of an undefeated football team.
Good morning. I have a couple of different things that I'd like to bring before you today. The first one is that on our local tracks project on 1300 North, I would like to have a vote that the president of the commissioners could be the signature for the partial approval for the right-of-way acquisition up in that project.
And it's to keep this moving because it's kind of on a, no pun intended, a fast track.
This one is on a fast track, and so by having the president, it moves it forward relatively quickly.
Very good.
Good
Is
with that?
that a motion?
I'd make a motion.
Second.
Been moved and second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
The next one would be, I need a signature and approval for an unofficial detour route The state of Indiana, NDOT, is going to perform replacement on 2 small structures on State Road 14, one being right in the town of Silver Lake and the one being just west of 100 East. I'd like to have Peru Road south to 1200 South, and then Packerton Road to 1200 South be the unofficial detour route.
Okay.
You're good at that, 'cause that's in your area?
Yeah, it's gotta be done, so,
I'll make that motion for you.
yeah. It's been moved and there's a second.
Second.
Moved and second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Steve.
Hey, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Take a 4-minute break.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. It's 9:10, so we got 5 minutes before we can move on to area plan, so we'll take a 5-minute recess.
Laska, you're killing me here because I'm doing that intermittent fasting thing. And I'm not supposed to eat till noon, but at about a second after noon, this thing's gone.
I can eat it for you.
No. I'm gonna try that pumpkin. I didn't know they made that. That's gotta be good. I'm trying to be disciplined on it, but it's hard.
Intermittent fasting, I mean, stuff yourself periodically. That's what I do all the time.
12 pounds doing it.
Not yet to the extent you're,
We're down to 2 days.
we can monitor the
3 weeks.
and ins and minimums and everything at this point. But, actually I have pictures. Yep, yep, they explained that. Just for the boilers right now. Okay, so this is one of the old heat exchangers, and see where it's dark? Because I wanted to see one of them where it's dark, there were holes eat through them from the heat at one point in time. This is a sample of the water. Each one of the boilers has one of those magnets on it. So this is the water from one of those they sampled while I was there. This is a bucket that was drained from the big magnet. This is the building loop. And so this is the magnet. You can see he's pulling it out right down here at the bottom. And then there's a hose that they have to drain this about a half a bucket every day. And then this is the building loop side of this heat exchanger, and this is the boiler loop side. And this water will never cross over into the boiler at all. And then this is the glycol mixing system. So over the night, Friday night, it had come down to about here, but from through Sunday into Monday when they came in, it had used 60 gallons, but it burped out a lot of air. So they'll be able to monitor this, and when they get this road out, because I want something they can hang there, because I said this will be a daily walkthrough. It'll be part of their morning walkthrough in the morning to check the levels here and drain that magnet, the dirt magnet. But yeah, so they were going to show them how to fill it and everything, but they still have, this is not a permanent thing. They don't have the piping for the water yet. And insulation is not done and labeling, but they did everything they could do to get the heat up and running on Friday. So yeah, so anyways, that's that, and thank God. But you know, this will never be clear. I mean, he got some up, and we're going to work on a filter system so we can filter this and put it back in and reuse it instead of wasting it. So that's to come. But yeah, there's like
Through core or just somebody else?
no, this is all through core.
Didn't they, somebody else give us the number to tune and test that?
Oh, Core gave us the number that they had gotten from somebody else, but once things settled down, I think they were getting samples for the boiler to take. They just wanted to have it tested, the boiler water, after, you know, there'll be some metal shavings and stuff, you know, in that, but they want to test it here probably another week or so to see what it looks like. But I feel like we're,
I think the key is once you, at least we will have samples of our equipment. So once you get a trend line of, you know, when you change
Yeah.
one, you need to run it a little bit, then you know what your baseline is, and you can start tracking if you're seeing a fluctuation.
yeah, so I want to get a log that they keep over there to tanks over there that, you know, we can just check these
What they
things.
may need to do, depending on whether or not the place that does it, like on oil samples, they'll keep track of all those additional samples as you get them and chart out whether or
Oh,
not you're
they can do
seeing.
it there.
But I don't know whether or not this company will do
Because
that.
there's a place out by G&G that does, yeah, so, that's what our thought was, but,
So we may have to enter that in a spreadsheet, but still,
yeah, yeah, but, there's a little valve right there, you just turn that valve, and there's a hose that comes down, so they can run it out and see what it looks like, but it's, yeah.
It's 9:15, we'll reconvene, and we'll start with Dan Richard, the area plan, please.
Good morning, I am
Morning,
Dan
Dan.
Richard with your Planning Commission. I've got 2 items of business for you, but I've got maps. Okay to come up and show you
Come
what I
on
got?
down.
First request is a rezoning request from agricultural to commercial for a Jeff Strombeck. Where we're located here is just off of State Road 13, just south of the town of North Webster. Right in front of you is our tractor ground being requested right here. The legal description read for 32 acres, which is all of this. Our actual subject tract is 25 right here. Class is handy dandy, funeral home, used to sell corn and veggies right here. NIPSCO's gonna be putting something in here. This is what we're talking about to rezone again from agricultural to commercial. Planning Commission unanimously recommending to allow that rezoning. There was one interested party who was up here, wanted to know if he'd still be able to hunt and use that property for hunting. That's not changing, that's gonna stay zoned agricultural. So they did again unanimously recommend to allow it.
and this parcel staying agricultural for now,
Yes, yes.
because don't they process?
Pooh.
Sewage right there, Shamster, that's right there. Eventually, this will be platted into a subdivision. Already talked about getting our ingress egress right here for the entire tract and coming here and looping
So
up.
it'd be a commercial subdivision? And these are already commercial right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at Lass's handy dandy there, the pier guys
Yeah,
right
it
over
comes
here.
on down here.
These are residential lots over here.
Because they've got to have access.
Okay.
also.
This is Lasses right here. Yeah, that makes
Come
perfect
up
sense.
up to here, this could be a roundabout, that's why they made that little circle.
You're gonna do a roundabout there?
That was the original. Is that roundabout still gonna be there or not?
That what?
The roundabout on that southwest corner, southeast corner?
Southeast corner, actually, when it's platted, there will be, a cul-de-sac
Cul-de-sac. okay.
at the area where NIPSCO has
Yeah.
purchased. NIPSCO purchased
My
the
bad,
southeast corner of the whole parcel for a substation. We tried to get them to move it somewhere less obvious, but that didn't work.
Okay,
The proposal now is simply to rezone the remainder of this parcel from ag to commercial. The second page of the handout I gave you shows what the current zoning is in the immediate area. And this is a heavily commercial area at the intersection of 500 and State Road 13. My clients who have purchased the property from Jeff Strombeck are looking at developing the entire parcel. Obviously, the frontage along Armstrong Road lends itself best to retail. We don't know what at this stage, but it will be retail of some kind. As Dan indicated, the entrance into this subdivision will be directly across from Grand Brook, so that we have an intersection there, far enough away from State Road 13 and the complicated entrance into Lasses that we don't create any additional problems. Whether there's an entrance onto State Road 13 on the north parcel is wholly dependent on NDOT, their requirements, and what those costs would be. Typically, those costs are prohibitive, but depending on what the ultimate use would be. If you look at the area in general, it fits.
As Dan indicated, we can't sell any properties off within this parcel without platting it first. It's been through a couple plat procedures already. Those will probably be revised to accommodate what my clients want to do on it, as well as accommodate at least one other retail outlet fronting on Armstrong Road. But we think it's a perfect match for the area.
Very good. Okay. Thank you. Do you have any questions of Steve? Okay.
The commercial zoning you're asking for is pretty much what is already along Armstrong Road. It's the same that you're asking as far as the type of commercial to the north?
Right.
It's both. This commercial, but he's going to expand. It's the currently zoned plus the addition to the north.
Right.
Okay. Everything further? Steve?
I'm done.
Okay. Anyone here to speak in opposition to this? Hearing none, we'll close the meeting to the public. What's your poison, gentlemen?
Make the motion to accept the recommendation of area plan.
Second that?
It's been moved and second. We accept the unanimous recommendation of the area plan to rezone from
You can have that too.
to commercial. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Thanks, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
The second matter that I've got for you is a report and recommendation on a request to vacate what's titled a public way, but actually it's a utility easement. We're within Cripplegate Crossing subdivision, and I think one of the items you have is an actual copy of the preliminary plat, or plat that's recorded in yellow on my exhibit right there. It shows the small section of utility easement that they are requesting to be vacated, which is on lot number 7 of Cripplegate Crossing there. In order to accommodate a proposed development of the Ridenauers, who are the petitioners, they need to have that utility easement removed. They are willing to take steps with NIPSCO, who has the utility in that location now, to have it relocated and turned around and accessed from another way in order to accommodate those that do have gas service and who will need it in the future out there. So they have worked with NIPSCO to secure their agreement, and also with the two adjacent owners that are on either side of that proposal, to allow them to still keep their utility service in through there. So they're in agreement with the vacation of it. Plan Commission is recommending to go ahead and allow that vacation of that small stretch through lot 7.
Steve Snyder on behalf of the petitioners. Colin and Brooke want to build a residence on Lot 7, which is currently vacant. They want to get as close to the lake as possible with a walkout basement. Problem, of course, was that when this plat was put together, there are more utility easements in this plat than I've ever seen. If you look at it closely, along every common property line, there's a utility easement. And this particular one was for the gas line that at this point only serves Lot 5. And the first thing I handed you with some redaction was the cost estimate from NIPSCO to relocate the gas line serving Lot 5. Lot 6 does not have any gas service, and in fact, the house on Lot 6 is located much closer to the southeast corner of that lot and obtains all its utilities directly from Lakeview Trail. So this really, even if the gas line continued to exist, it couldn't serve any more residences because it's only a 1-inch gas line and doesn't have the capacity to serve anything other than the residents on Lot 5. But my client, at their expense, is relocating that gas line to the satisfaction of the owner of Lot 5, so that solves that problem. I attached copies of the letters from Schmuckers and from Parker indicating they have no problem with the vacation of this utility easement. Otherwise, it's a relatively straightforward process to eliminate the easement over Lot 7 which will allow the construction of the residence in the location proposed, and I did give you a handout showing where that proposed lake location is. It's more of a lane than I want to maintain from a snow removal standpoint.
Yeah.
Or paving, but they wanted to be closer to the lake, and I understand that.
Sure. Steve, have you had any discussion with the people from lot 8 or 9 on while you're vacating that, to vacate that whole thing? Because it does not make any sense to have that line there.
Well,
I know they've called me and talked with me quite a bit about having it all done at once. I don't know if they've contacted you? or-
No, I did not hear from anyone, and I don't know whether there's any gas service for lots 8 or 9 that may be utilizing that easement. In other words, I don't know if they're tied into that line for their own use, or whether it served only lot 5.
So your contention is there's right away there, but maybe not a gas line there?
Right. I don't know what's in that easement, if anything, other than this gas line.
It makes sense to come to all those through Lakeview Trail, because
It does make sense, but.
there you go.
I've dealt with NIPSCO for a lot of years, so.
Point well
They'll do it
taken.
the other way then.
Point well taken. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. Anyone here to speak in opposition to this? Hearing none, we'll close the meeting to the public. What do you want to do?
But I don't see
Sure,
any issue with what they're asking for. I mean, they've got a letter of support for the two lots on to the
Adjacent
west or
property.
adjacent that would be using that easement. I mean, NIPSCO's agreed to it, because I know sometimes that can be tough to get them to agree. So, I mean, I think they've crossed their Ts and dotted their Is. I'd make a motion to vacate the easement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You're welcome. Thank you, Steve. Thanks, Dean. That's all I got. Thank you. Appreciate that. Any further business to come before the commissioners today? Hearing none, we'll see you back here on Tuesday, November 9.
Dan.
The recording has stopped.